crayons instead of epoxy resin. Today, furniture finished with epoxy resin is gaining popularity in the market. Tables are the most demanded items, and this is not surprising. Once finished, they look spectacular. In addition, this technique makes it possible to create all kinds of original furniture. A few months ago, a master named Chris demonstrated that even more unique furniture can be obtained by replacing epoxy resin with colored crayons. He started making the new table in the same way that he starts building any other piece of furniture. First, he put together several boards to get a wide surface. Then he determined the top and the bottom of the table, and of course he hand drew a place for the color insertion. The expert used a manual milling machine to cut the wood and create the cavity where the crayons would be placed. Then the most interesting part begins. The master removed the wrappers from the crayons, placed them in the cavity, and melted them. The crayons contain wax, so under the influence of hot air, they almost immediately become liquid. The artist created something like a rainbow river. In addition, he decorated the fixing points of the legs of the worktop with crayons. The result is a beautiful and very unusual table. Shower tray. Schluter Systems manufactures various building materials that can be used in floors and showers. The video shows how the master, using his skills and the company's products, creates the shower tray, the edge, and the elegant drainage. The Curdy shower system is used as the base for the shower. The polystyrene blocks are lightweight too. Their size and shape are easily changed with a knife. The material is placed on a layer of a special solution called thin-set mortar. If the pipe runs under the shower cubicle, as in this case, a circular shower channel is installed in the opening. To prevent water leaking, a curb is installed. The thin-set mortar is then applied again to the base of the polystyrene shower tray, joining the layers of the structure. The builder then applies the polymer membrane layer that performs the waterproofing function. In addition, the membrane is placed in the corners and curves of the future shower cabin to prevent water from entering them. Once the work is finished, the construction is optimally waterproof. The probability of leakage is reduced to 0. After that, the worker lays the tiles. Schluter Systems also offers incredible design solutions for drains that look like usual tiles. Faux stone finish. Although natural materials have an extremely attractive appearance, they're not often used in construction. First of all, they're not cheap, and secondly, they can significantly increase the weight of the construction, which is not always possible. However, this is not an excuse for not having a stone wall at home, because resourceful builders have invented ways to create a finishing that imitates stone using the available materials. The finishing process begins when the builder marks the size and shape of the future stones. To ensure that the final result is more realistic, a colorant is added to the mortar during the mixing process. First, the white color. To apply the contours of the future stone, a mortar sprayer is used. It provides sufficient pressure and traction to allow the thick mass to be squeezed through the nozzle. When the mortar is applied, it is leveled with a spatula. Another dye is added to the unused portion of the mortar, this time yellow. It'll be used to form the stones. The worker applies the material in a dense layer so that it rises above the mortar that's been previously placed. The paint roller is used to compact the mixture. The final stage in creating the finishing is to remove the excess mortar using the sharp end of the spatula. Finally, the appearance of the stone wall is obtained by cleaning the grooves with a wet, thin brush. EPS bricks. It is not so easy to think of a useful application for a pile of used, dirty, and broken EPS. However, true experts are able to easily cope with this task. For example, the ones we're going to show you now came up with the idea of making bricks with this material. If you want to repeat this, start by creating a grinder. This was made of plywood, an old vacuum cleaner, and a tube with a large number of nails. The bag for collecting the resulting material is attached to the grinder using binder clips. According to the creators of this machine, you can make a lot of bricks. Even a small amount of EPS turns into a big pile of raw materials. A full bag of EPS crumbs is enough to make just over 20 bricks. 5 buckets of crumbs and a bucket of cement are added to the mixing molds. Once the water is added, the mixture becomes firm and thick. The molds are filled with the mixture and placed on wooden panels. Additional bars and a press are placed on top to ensure that the finished bricks are of the same size. Drying doesn't take too long either. These bricks are excellent for acoustic and thermal insulation and do not sink. Their low cost makes them an ideal material for small construction projects. Wall decoration. From time to time, we show you a variety of ways to decorate walls. However, there are so many methods that we're happy to find something interesting again. The person you see on the screen uses the Silcosil and Magico interior paints to create a decorative panel. Magico paint has a unique ability to change color when applied to the surface. The production of these building materials is carried out by the company Silk Coat Boya from Tajikistan. First, a thin layer of black Silcosil paint is applied to the surface using a paint roller. After drying, the second and most interesting work stage begins. Note that the paint inside the tank is white. It's applied to the surface with a narrow spatula. The assistant presses the tools against the decorative panel so that the paint is squeezed to the edges. In the center, this ink changes color to obtain a beautiful bluish tone. The finished decorative panel has an unusual appearance and will look nice in any room. And in the same way, you can finish the whole wall. Scrap metal sculptures. While large companies buy used metal for processing and carrying out a secondary production cycle, some craftsmen give metal a second life in a completely different and unusual way. Here is Alan Williams, a metal artist from the UK. His sculptures are made from metal pieces he just finds. The main tools of his work are forge hammers, fire, and a variety of pliers. He gives the bars strange shapes and curves. Old gears in his hands become the bodies of alien creatures. The artist then transforms them into sculptures for the public's delight.